It's 8:30 now, and it is time for our 8:30 High Beam Talk with the Doc, which this morning is being brought to you by Mako's Pharmacy at 240 East 3rd Street, downtown Yorksville. Mako's Pharmacy, your local pharmacy with a caring and knowledgeable staff focused on your health and wellness. And Dr. Tim McKnight joins us from the Fast Lane, I do believe, as we just had that song for you.
I just walked in. I was hoping I didn't get red lights, so it was the Fast Lane for me.
Well, good. Good to have you in, as we've had Memorial Day now, and that's kind of the unofficial start to summer, so we all start thinking even more about, I think about the beach 24/7, 365, but being outside, exposed to the sunlight, and then what happens to our skin in the interim, and especially people who work outside for a living.
Absolutely. And look, I brought a visual aid for you.
You certainly did. Wow, that's a farmer's tan if I ever saw one.
Oh, I was showing you my bicep.
Oh yeah.
You just saw the farmer's tan. So yeah, I thought I'd have to have a visual aid today for the discussion.
Thank you for that.
Yes, it's really interesting that a lot of us are afraid of the sun. But nature teaches us that the sun is good, right? If you notice what happens with your plants, they all grow towards the sun, depending on where the sun is reaching your yard or your house. You'll see the plants tend to grow that direction. So the plants thrive with sunlight, and we are designed to thrive with it as well. The problem is when we have too much sun exposure. And really the thing that protects us is a pigment forming or a pigment in our skin called melanin. And people that tan easily or are dark complected, Hispanic descent maybe, or African American, they have a lot of melanin. So they don't burn because, and they don't have that skin damage because the melanin is protective. It takes the photons from the light source and turns it into harmless heat. It's the light complected people that don't have as much melanin that tend to burn more, and they have more sun damage. So the sunlight actually provides 3 ultraviolet light waves, which is just beyond the visible wavelength frequency. It's UVA, UVB, and UVC. And UVA waves make up about 95% of those waves that reach the Earth, and UVB is about 5%, and there's really negligible UVC. But it's the UVB rays that we think that damages the skin. So a lot of us will use sunscreen to try to block that. And unfortunately, a lot of interesting research has come out. In 2007, there was USC looked at, I think, 17 different studies of sunscreen users, and they found that there was a high incidence of melanoma, which is a very aggressive, dangerous skin cancer in sunscreen users. The problem is not...
Now, that is the users of the sunscreen.
The users of the sunscreen, right. And the problem is these sunscreens, they do a couple things. They block the production of vitamin D, which is good for us. They damage melanin, so melanin can't turn that light energy into something that's harmless. They also, while they block the UVB rays, they don't block some of the UVA rays, which are very damaging. So we can be lathered up in sunscreen and out at the beach or by the pool for hours and hours, not feeling the sunburn, but these other rays are getting through and they're causing sun damage. And so we have to be really, really careful with that. And probably another really important factor, because we talk a lot about hormones and these estrogen-like compounds that we call xenoestrogens that cause so many hormonal imbalances in men and women both, is the active ingredient in sunscreen is called oxybenzone or oxybenzone, sorry. And that is an anti-cancer causing agent until it's activated by the sun. And once it's activated by the sun or UV light, it becomes carcinogenic. So we're actually, I think that's the link that we've recently made with these sunblocks, is that it can become carcinogenic because it's blocking the UVB rays. You're not feeling that heat. Mm-hmm. Like yesterday, I was outside and I started to feel like I was getting warm, and that was the early sign of a sunburn. And that's the warning. That's the warning signal for me to get out of the sun.
His face is red, by the way, if you can't see him.
Yeah, a little bit red. But that's the point. Is that's the natural mechanism for us is when we do burn easily, we start to get that sunburn. That's our body telling us get out of the sun. But when you use these sunblocks, you're not getting that. I would have not been sunburnt yesterday had I been out there with sunscreen on, but I would have probably stayed out longer, not been burned, but potentially causing more damage to my skin. So it's a really tricky, kind of a slippery slope when we talk about this. I think the key is we tell everybody to get out and get sun because you want to make vitamin D. Vitamin D is so critical to so many organs in our body, but we're all worried about
overexposure.
Overexposure, and it's not just the skin cancer risk. It's the fact that it oxidizes amino acids, particularly collagen in our skin, and when we disrupt collagen is that protein that keeps our skin really tight and sort of taut. If you damage that over and over again, either in a tanning bed or outside being burnt, your wrinkles will develop more quickly. So there's a lot more than just the cancer risk with sun exposure that we have to be careful of. But I think the point I'm trying to make is we need to be careful with using these sunblocks because especially with benzone in it can be very bad for us. It can be carcinogenic, and it allows us to kind of anesthetize the skin so we don't even know we're being burned.
So do we have a compromise in here somewhere where there's a lighter sunscreen,
yes.
8s and 15s, maybe, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the key is we do want to block the UVB rays. We don't want to be burned. We don't want that repeated exposure. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the commercial sunscreens we need to be careful of. And so there's some natural oils that can be very very good, and they have SPF or sun protection factor numbers to them that help to block some of these rays, and they don't convert into these bad compounds when they're exposed. And there's a website called Living Libations with a B.com that you could go to and you could find these. I'm thinking that maybe health food stores and other alternative medicine companies provide this kind of information or these kind of products, but there are a lot of oils. We call them summer oils. Some have coconut in them, some have almond seed and wheat germ oil. The wheat germ oil has an SPF of 20. So that's pretty decent. Coconut oil or olive oil is SPF of 4 to 8. So coconut oil is 2 to 8. So it's not a lot of protection, but it's some. So I think the bottom line message, I guess, is that first of all, sun is good for us. We need some sun. We don't want to be overexposed. We need to be careful about the commercial sunscreens, and our sun exposure should probably be gradual. It's actually healthy for our skin to have a sort of a gradual tan where we're not burning, but by the end of the summer we've got a little bit of color to us, because we don't want those, and that's without using those sunblocks that can really cause damage because of the way they work.
What would you say to the farmer who's out in the field a lot? They need long sleeves
they probably
a lot
do.
of the times. No,
Yeah.
I mean, when you're baling hay, you may do that anyway.
Probably, and a hat. People that are lighter complected, if you're exposed to a lot of sun, with or without sunblock, your risk of skin cancer goes up. Actinic keratosis is the first lesion that we see, then it goes into squamous cell carcinoma or basal cell skin cancers, which are really common. Basal cell skin cancers don't cause any prematurity in your life. They don't metastasize, but they can get bigger and bigger and require quite a bit of cosmetic work to make them look better. So you don't want to ignore these. So yes, if you're fair complected, if you have a history of melanoma in your family, that is a real sign that you've got to be really careful. You got to really avoid the overexposure. So wear light clothing, wear a hat, try to keep it off your face and your neck, and just use good common sense. But a little bit every day is it's not something we should shy away from.
Right.
Yeah, we need to be in the sun.
So go ahead and flex your bicep again. It'll be fine.
Well, I was good. I thought I might split my shirt if I did that, so I don't want to go have to get another shirt.
Next week, the Incredible Hulk, real or?
I'll tell you my secrets.
Okay, very good. Hey, thanks for the tips, though. It's a good time of the year for that.
You're welcome.
That's Dr. Tim McKnight here this morning as we talk with the doc.